Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're diving deep into a topic plunging beneath the surface of our digital anxieties. A topic that perfectly encapsulates the modern human condition, the constant hum of worry in the background of our lives. It's panic, but panic filtered through the cold, objective lens of a search engine. A very specific search engine, in fact. The phrase in question, the one that's been lighting up our screens? Iran attacks US base. This phrase has been spiking dramatically on Google Trends, shooting up like a thermometer on a hot summer day, meaning a significant number of you, perhaps even you watching right now, have been typing it into that anxious little search box at 3 a.m., fueled by caffeine and dread. It's the digital equivalent of hearing a bump in the night, a creak in the floorboards of the internet, and immediately assuming the absolute worst, the monster under the bed is real, and it's coming for you. When something scary happens, when the world feels like it's tilting on its axis, our first instinct isn't to turn on the traditional news, it's to bypass all reasonable filters and ask Google, in our most vulnerable moment, are we doomed yet? The search data for Iran attacks us base isn't just numbers and graphs, it's a window into our collective psyche, a real-time reflection of our fears, showing how we process fear in the 21st century, by frantically Googling in our pajamas, seeking answers in the dead of night. So, let's put on our digital detective hats, grab our magnifying glasses, and investigate this phenomenon. Let's try to understand why this specific phrase, Iran attacks US base, has become our go-to for expressing geopolitical stress and existential dread. And perhaps more importantly, what this all says about our evolving relationship with information and how we seek comfort in the digital age. Welcome to the internet's panic room, a place we all visit from time to time, whether we like to admit it or not, where every click is a potential jump scare, every notification a possible harbinger of doom, and the monster we're so afraid of, well, it might just be our own reflection staring back at us from the cold, unblinking screen. Before we dissect the anatomy of panic, before we delve into the depths of mass hysteria and try to understand its triggers and its spread, let's first understand our main tool, the instrument we'll be using to measure the collective anxiety, Google Trends. This platform will be our window into the public's concerns. Think of it as the EKG of the internet's soul, a real-time monitor of the world's anxieties. It shows, in aggregate, how many people are thinking about something, searching for something, and crucially, when they are thinking about it. It's a snapshot of our collective consciousness. It measures the popularity of a specific search term over a defined period of time, charting its rise and fall in the public's interest. It quantifies this popularity with a score ranging from 0 to 100, giving us a clear numerical representation of the level of interest. It's important to note that this isn't a poll or a survey where people are explicitly asked their opinions. It's the raw, unfiltered ID of the public, a direct reflection of what people are spontaneously seeking out, one search query at a time, painting a picture of our shared anxieties and curiosities. Google Trends also provides a geographical breakdown of the data by region, allowing us to see where the searches are originating, showing which states, or even smaller regions, are exhibiting the highest levels of concern, or perhaps are panicking the most. In a way, it turns our national anxiety into a kind of competitive sport, a bizarre contest of worry. Which state will take the lead as the most worried? Who will be crowned the anxiety champion? The geographical data adds a whole new layer of absurdity and, frankly, morbid fascination to the proceedings. So, in this exploration of mass hysteria, Google Trends is our guide, our compass in the digital wilderness. A graph that spikes dramatically when collective worries surge, when anxieties reach a fever pitch, and a map that pinpoints, with unsettling accuracy, the geographical hotspots of our collective neuroses. It doesn't definitively tell us if Iran actually attacked a US base, confirming the event with certainty, but it does provide a powerful indication of just how many of us are deeply worried that such an event might have occurred or might be on the horizon. Tonight, that digital pulse, the collective heartbeat of the internet, is racing at an alarming rate. Alright, let's dive into the digital archives and look at the timeline for the search term, Iran attacks us base. This isn't just a graph, it's a story of collective curiosity, concern, and frankly, a bit of panic. We're going to dissect this data and see how the world reacted in real time to this event. Over the 24 hours leading up to the event, the search interest wasn't a flat line, but it was pretty close. A calm before the storm, if you will. The digital world was humming along, focused on other things, blissfully unaware of the impending surge of information. Then suddenly it looked like a mountain range drawn by a nervous hand, a massive jagged peak erupting from the baseline. This is the moment the news broke, and the world collectively turned to Google for answers. There's a low baseline, a period of relative calm, then, bam, the digital landscape is shaken. A dramatic spike as news breaks and panic spreads like wildfire through the internet. Every notification, every headline fuels the surge. That peak represents thousands, maybe millions of people simultaneously having the same thought, the same question, the same fear. A global chorus of digital inquiry. Wait, what is going on? The line shoots up, reaching its apex, then descends, but not smoothly. It's followed by smaller aftershocks, echoes of the initial quake. These are the latecomers to the panic party, those who were asleep in meetings or simply disconnected now catching up after being offline. Social media amplifies these aftershocks, spreading the information and often the misinformation even further. As frantic posts send more people to Google, the cycle continues, feeding itself. The graph becomes a living history, a testament to our collective response to a moment of crisis, of how a story, a piece of news, ripples through society, impacting us all in different ways. Eventually the line settles, the frenzy subsides, as attention inevitably shifts to the next shiny object, the next trending topic. Maybe a celebrity scandal breaks, capturing the fleeting attention of the masses. Or a viral cat video emerges, offering a moment of levity in a world that often feels too serious. The great Iran attack scare fades into digital background noise, becoming just another blip in the endless stream of information. But it leaves behind a jagged line as evidence of our collective anxiety, a reminder of the day the world held its breath. This timeline isn't just data points on a graph, it's a three-act play about how we, as a society, process fear, uncertainty, and information in the digital age. A sudden spike of initial shock, frantic aftershocks of information gathering and speculation, and a slow fade into indifference as we move on to the next crisis, the next distraction. Until the next spike, of course, because in the age of instant information, there's always another story waiting to break. Now for the fun part, geography. Google Trends breaks down which states are searching for Iran attacks us base the most, a recipe of predictability and randomness. States with heavy military presence like Virginia, California, and Texas often light up the map. If you live near a major base, you're more likely to be invested in whether it's under attack, but then there are outliers. Wyoming or Montana suddenly become hotbeds of anxiety. Maybe it's a lack of local news, or maybe it's just a slow day on the ranch. This map is more than data, it's a cultural document showing where military families, news junkies, and the perpetually bored live. It turns vague national dread into a state-by-state competition for most worried. Our anxieties are anything but uniform. Each state brings its own flavor of paranoia, and honestly that's what makes the data so fascinating. Let's zoom in on two star players, Virginia and Texas. Virginia's interest is almost bureaucratic, home to the Pentagon, CIA, and massive naval bases. For Virginians, Middle East tensions aren't abstract, they're personal, affecting neighbors and commutes. Their searches are less, "Are we doomed?" and more, "Is my workday about to get complicated?" Texas, on the other hand, is pragmatic and prepared. Military bases, self-reliance, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Texans search the news and check their ammo supply at the same time. Virginia is worried about policy. Texas is worried about preparedness. Both are united by the same impulse. When in doubt, Google it out. They're a microcosm of how America processes threats, with a mix of procedure and frontier spirit. And both are very, very online. No Google Trend Deep Dive is complete without the related queries section. Here, the human mind shines in all its strange glory. People don't just search "Iran attacks us base," they branch out in bizarre directions. Logical follow-ups, US response to Iran attack, US military bases in Middle East, Iran news today, these are the rational queries trying to piece together the story. But then come the gems: how to pronounce Ayatollah, can I join the Space Force now, or gas prices going up. We stare into the abyss of global conflict and wonder, how will this affect my 401k? Related searches reveal our smaller, personal, and often hilarious concerns. Even in crisis, we're weird, self-interested, and easily distracted. The related queries aren't a sideshow, they're the main event, showing how our brains really work. Now let's talk about the feedback loop, a slightly terrifying aspect of this phenomenon. In the past, news was a one-way street. Now it's a chaotic roundabout. A rumor starts, people Google it, news outlets see the spike, And suddenly the search trend itself becomes news. The cycle feeds itself. Curiosity drives coverage, which drives more curiosity. A vague report surfaces, a few thousand people search, and algorithms flag it as trending. Editors assign articles about the trend, which get shared, causing even more searches. The snake eats its own tail, and live streams it for ad revenue. The danger? High search volume doesn't mean something happened, it just means people it might have. The trend becomes a story, the story becomes news, and suddenly your uncle is forwarding you articles as proof. In the digital age, we must be vigilant consumers of information, or risk getting swept away in our own feedback loop. We've had some fun with the data, but here's the public service announcement. Just because something is trending doesn't mean it's true. A search trend measures curiosity and fear, not fact. Google Trends is a snapshot of the world's questions, not its answers. When Iran attacks us base spikes, it means millions are asking, did this happen? Not that it did. Our brains see a crowd and assume something important is happening. Online, a search spike is that crowd. This is the difference between searching and researching. Searching is a midnight impulse, researching is a morning process, checking credible sources and official statements. In moments of crisis, move from searching to researching before panic hardens into belief. Use Google Trends as a barometer of public mood, not a substitute for verified news. Before you panic or forward that headline, take a breath, close the tab, and find a reliable source. So what have we learned? When the world gets tense, Americans get typing. Our national anxiety has a distinct flavor. Virginia is professionally worried, Texas is pragmatically prepared. Our curiosity leads to some wonderful places like Googling how to pronounce foreign leaders' names mid-crisis. A spike in Google searches is a cultural indicator, not news. The digital age gives us access to information and anxiety. Being informed isn't just knowing what's happening, but understanding you know it. The goal: stay informed, not just inflamed. Seek credible sources, form a measured view. The internet can be a tool for clarity or chaos. The choice is ours. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and we'll keep making sense of the madness, one Google search at a time.